Good morning, it's day 70 of the Repton Oak visit. That's what I'm calling it now, using its proper name, and still not confident about spending time sitting under it. So I'm thinking of creative ways in which I can still fulfill the brief I set myself for the project, i.e. visiting the tree as often as I can, and doing some writing, filming, mindfulness, art, music. So I thought today I could collect some of the material that fell down in the high winds last week. So some samples from the branch, broken off branch, and there's some nest material there, and I thought I could do some art with it. No food and drink today. I've bought a light rucksack, and I have bought some poetry, one of my poetry collections to read from, too. So yeah, something a bit different today. I'll talk a bit about my studies in very general, loose terms. I was reading a paper yesterday, my first academic article, which was hard going as I'm not a scientist and mathematician, but I got through it. I enjoyed it and got the gist of it, and it was about people's willingness. It was a global survey about people's willingness to contribute 1% of their earnings towards global climate change, fighting against climate change. And many people were prepared to do this, and it was the countries, the poorest, most vulnerable in terms of rising temperatures and difficult lives, that were prepared to kind of do this, as opposed to countries with a higher standard of living. And then part of it was how many people were prepared to, want the government and policymakers to make changes to improve things, to reduce the effects of climate change. And the majority of people around the world do want that, but many of us don't realise that. Don't realise how many people are actually wanting these changes made. So that was positive. And I was listening to Dr. Ian McGilchrist talking during the night on YouTube. He's a philosopher, psychologist, academic. You can look him up anyway. Talking about how we've become a society that thinks very much with the left hemisphere of our brain, which is sort of what's in it for me, looking at things in a very literal way, individualistic way of looking at things. And he was saying that, in his opinion, we should be thinking with the right hemisphere of our brain, which is a lot more creative, receptive to the subtleties of nature, the arts, and appreciates the value of community, being with other people, cooperating together, which really resonated with me. And what I like about these talks on YouTube is that they don't put ads on them, because they don't think that people, consumers, will be listening to things like that, which is fine by me because I hate the adverts. And it's an example of how all these consumerist, capitalist companies sort of make you believe that that is the only way to live, consuming and dumping stuff, using up all the natural resources, and that there's not people with a want to care for the planet, and this communicating this is part of the problem. Breaking through this information that's been fed to us all in the name, basically, of making money. So and I'm going to, the essence of my studies is going to be referring to nature, because it's within us, we're within it, as opposed to using terms like the environment, which McGilchrist said, it kind of sets us apart from our surroundings. that word, and I agree with that. So slowly I'm reading material, possibly too slowly, but I'm not putting pressure on myself. But I am being challenged and I'm enjoying what I'm studying, so that's really good. Okay, so this is my second handmade, hand-illustrated poetry collection I wrote in 2020. I can't believe it's that long ago. Seems like yesterday. It's called Severed, My 2020 and Daily 50-Word Character Poems. You can look back, if you go onto the My Poetry playlist, you'll hear me reading all of the poems here up from 1 to 77, so I'll be going from 78 today. Day 78. I threw myself back under the bus of social media to spread some goodness like peanut butter in these keep away from me times to invisible acquaintances I'll never know are actually who they say they are, and who do more harm than those I can hear whispering through their chocolate solid encasements. Day 79. All of my coping aids being stolen away one by one because of other people's selfishness, unable to explain to our cats why they must be kept inside. I can't offer people music because it isn't exercise, and soon I may not be allowed to visit my joy-filled, sanity-balancing allotments. Day 80. Some of these poems are purely visual, like this one. Day 81. Red tulip lit up like a lava lamp. Purple tulip, glossy and tight. Black tulips, only 2015 display. Red tulips, interior scent of honey. Purple tulip, Easter eggs on stems. Black tulips, shut purse under earth. Red tulips, Art Nouveau antics. Purple tulips, green sleeve dress. Black tulip, midnight special. Day 82. Attraction chasing, protection seeker. Female circle, bored assassin. Poisoned girlfriend, nipped balls. Secret relation, cat waste. Recruited guard, fake aid. Wordless threesome, used tampon, grinning grandad. Depilatory cream, lemon dress, hate heart. Classy barista, femoral slice. Hospital opening, cruelty handbag. Pretty hairpin, exquisite witness. cowboy hat, ruthless adventurer, erectile dysfunction. Day 83. Help me, holy shit, lone guard, scarlet shelter, humping dog, ancient guitar, jaded tune, tired cat, wine gum, snake spew, skipping rope, no windows, jagged glass, open door, killer virus, stay put, rotten smoothie, tail lights, old life, purring cat, fucked dog, horny guard, smashed guitar, taut rope, help me. Day 84. Morning life pre-coronavirus. How unnatural it is giving others a wide berth. How much I took for granted the freedom to shop for essentials, and that nobody could eradicate the years it's taken me to outrun OCD's clutches. Local parks' bins will remain unemptied as human suppression spares the universe. Day 85. Lit up Manhattan spire brightens as sludgy skies darken. Upended memory stick constructions. Amber glow rectangle on the Hudson River's edge. Sounds of metal on metal as the night encroaches. Insomniac blinks of 1,000 workplaces. Hulk green light grows up a building, then withdraws. The white title of headquarters turns on automatically. Day 86. Garden centres blathering on about throwing plants out because they can't be sold to a social distancing UK. Why not leave them outside for folk to collect at the end of the streets? For folk to collect at the end of streets during their once-a-day exercise. Plants are treated like cold commodities, not living delights that bring hope and happiness. Day 87. The nightmare keeps deepening with nothing of comfort apart from food we can turn to and forget for 20 minutes that nothing familiar from the old life of 2 weeks ago still exists, and nothing distracts us from the overwhelming awareness that amid this crisis greed still finds a way. I think I'll leave it there for today. So nice reading in these surroundings. Yeah, I haven't been up here, spent any time here since the spring, and some little saplings had taken root, and I can see there's 2 healthy looking trees. Hopefully they'll find the light through the canopy. Quickly, while I remember, I've just been talking to Jan the litter picker, or the Duchess of Claybury, I think. I think that's her nickname. Yeah, I've learnt her name today. We generally get on. Had a bit of a tussle in the summer, but that's all behind us. Yeah, she was telling me, we were talking about our Repton Oak, and it was planted by Humphrey Repton, and apparently he planted 4 trees in that area. And we were saying how, yeah, must be 250 years old. And she said he'll probably be here longer than he'll probably outlive us. And she went to have a look at the fallen branch and said, yeah, that's a big chunk that fell off. And she commented on how rotten it is, and I suspect it has got internal rot, but it's still alive, given the what it's been through in its life, what it's, we're saying how beautiful it is, and we both stand under it and just in awe of how beautiful it is. And we were saying that, Jan was saying, we're privileged to have witnessed that event, actually, in the life cycle of the tree. And we are. I feel I'm privileged to have witnessed everything that I've observed since March. And somebody I know has recognised what a solid support this tree's been to me throughout this difficult part of my life. And she said that Jan was saying that Humphrey Repton would be pleased to hear how much the tree is helping me. So yeah, just heading there now. It did kind of occur to me, because I'm wary of spending any time under there at the moment, that this is maybe the subtle way that the tree is telling me that it's time for me to move on. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. Hang on, there's a nice natural structure here. Let's have a look at this. Probably my overactive imagination, but when I have communicated with the tree, and I have had some magical replies, so not quite sure what's going on here. I think somebody's attempted to create some kind of shelter. Keep you on camera as I approach. It's nice to see the tree in the distance. Yeah, Jan reported the fallen branch I think somebody's had a look at it. good. So day 70. Here we are. Yeah, definitely an autumnal feel today. It's looking as if the leaves are certainly dying back some, so right, I'm gonna turn off for a minute and collect these materials. I'm not going to be under there long, and I'll show you what I've collected. Just wanted to show you this hole. Don't know what made it. It's very rotten, this debris. It's quite interesting to see these things up close. Could have been a woodpecker, or yeah, it's very, you can see the wood is very rotten. You can see the layers here, different colours, sort of blonde wood, and then you can see for yourself. Yeah. So I've just picked some of the nest material, and let's see, a little bit of the bark. So it's the nest material. Right, I'm not going to hang around under here. Look at these beauties. I've actually got them in the garden at home. I've got a pot of it. To look up the name. Thought I'd leave you this beautiful image. Yeah, it's got cooler today, which I'm grateful for, and it's, having said that, it's nice to be walking in the sun just to warm up a little bit. So yeah, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Hopefully some of you are finding this useful, if not a bit harrowing. I realise it can be at the moment, but hopefully you can see the long-term benefits of having a tree as a friend. So, okay, I shall see you again soon. Bye.